a couple of times today about how to create a test in Blackboard. So I'm going to try to show you pretty quickly. So I'm going to go into any Blackboard class. So the way you get there, I tend to go to my institution. That's where I go through, and then I'm going to go into a class that is a previous semester, just so I don't mess with people's heads. So here's 607. And what I'm going to do is walk you through the steps, and you'll be able to see what I do and how I do it. So I go down into course tools, and I'm just going to create a small quiz, and then you can replicate and make it bigger. If you're using a large pool of questions, you might do this differently, but if you're just setting up a test, this is how you would manually set up a test. So I go into course tools, test pools, and surveys and pools, and then tests. And I create something, I build a test. I'm going to call this temp test because I'm going to erase this later on. I'm going to say 3 questions, 30 points, and then I'm going to go on to the bottom and click submit. Now I'm going to create a question. Now if I want it to auto grade, I have to do something like a multiple choice or a either or true false, but not a short answer or a essay, because then you have to manually grade it. So let's say I want to do a multiple choice. Oops, excuse me. Let's say, no, let's do it, yeah, we'll do a multiple choice. And we'll say something very simple. This is number 1. Oh, sorry. Cancel. Um, let's create a multiple choice. Where's my multiple choice? Multiple choice. And then we'll say this is 1. And we'll scroll down and say, who was the first president? Question mark, and we'll scroll down from there and we'll say George Washington, and then we'll say Bugs Bunny, Abe Lincoln, and Dr. Hunter. Okay, and then we'll click on submit. Okay, and then we'll go to the next create question, and we're going to do another another multiple choice, and we'll say what is your professor? Oh, I'm sorry. Here, this is 2. What is your professor? And you can say mean, you can say ugly, awesome, and we're going to change this response to make this the correct answer. And then we're going to say none of the, well, no, let's not do a none of the above. Let's say A and B only. And then if we want to add another one, we can just add another question as well. And we're going to move on from here and click submit. And then the last question is, let's make this a true false. I love CSU. Oh, I'm sorry. This is number 3. And the question is, I love CSU, and it's either true or false. It's true, and then we click submit. Okay, so now we have our test. Now, this is 3 questions and it's 30 points, and I did that intentionally. It will automatically make something worth 10 points unless you change it to something else, and you can change it. You can go in there and change it, but you have to do it for each one. And so 10 points is, so if you have a 10 questions worth 10 points each, make it out of 100, and you're in good shape. Okay, so now we click OK. And then after we click OK, we're going to, so the test is there now. So here we have temp test, and it's not deployed. So we're going to go into let's see, course materials, or wherever you house your tests. And I'm going to go down here and I'm going to go into tests. And then what I do is, and it doesn't matter where you launch it as long as you know where they do it. So you're going to go to assessments and test. And then the only one that's not launched, if something's not launched, you click on temp test and you submit and it will launch that test. Okay, so now that's ready after you click submit. Now, what's important here is that you go down to that test. Temp test is not available yet, so you're going to have to go and edit the test options to make it available and see how you want to deploy it. So here we'll go and we'll say, let's see, show test description before. Sure, I usually do that. Open in a new window. No, I don't normally do that. Make test available to students. Yes. Add a new announcement for this test. It depends. If you want them to see it right now, yeah. But if you don't, like I create my test way ahead of time, and I don't want them to do it all at that time. Do you want them to have multiple attempts? If so, how many, or unlimited, or what? I usually don't do anything with that. Force completion, yes. Now, once it's started, it must be done in one sitting. That's the idea. Set timer. So, set timer, you don't need 60 minutes for a 3-question test. I'm going to give them 3 minutes, okay? And auto submit on. In 3 minutes, it will submit whether you're done or not. You can set a calendar for whenever it's going to be done. So let's say it's going to be done Tuesday at, let's say noon. You can set that for Tuesday at noon. And it will or you want to display after Tuesday at noon. You get out of class and you say, by the way, take your test, and you're displaying until, let's say, midnight. So you have the rest of the day in order to do that. Tuesday at midnight, and they have to take it within that window. End of the day, you have to take that window. You can put a password if you like. That's fine. You don't have to. I used to, and then I was like, it's a lot of work to do that. When's it due? It is due, and you already kind of set this, but Tuesday at midnight. And again, you can set your parameters how you like. Okay. And do not allow the students to take the test if their date is passed. I use this generally. Right now, I'm not going to be tough on students, but I generally use it. Okay. And then here, when do you see the feedback? After the submission? Yeah, okay. After the submission or after the due date. Those are normal choices. And then what can they see? All answers, correct answers, submitted answers, any feedback that you show, incorrect questions. I let them see all of it. Now, I also have it come in, not all at once, but one at a time. I do not prohibit backtracking, and then I randomize question. Now, Blackboard best practices are things like have a large pool of questions. So if you have five question quiz, if you have 20 questions in that pool, it's hard to cheat if you have, because you're not seeing the same thing. If you randomize, it's harder to cheat because you're not seeing the same question come up in the same order. If you only have a minute per question, then it's hard to cheat. So if you do those kind of things, you have kind of a safeguard against it. I'm going to click submit. And when I do, we're going to go to the gradebook now. Okay. And we're going to go in here to the grade center and see full grade center. And now we should see at the end of this, we should see a column that is temp test. Temp test, it's right there. It's in the grade book, and so now there's another 30 points in the grade column. Okay, so if you have any questions about the process, you can ask me, but hopefully this will help you, and it's just doing the same thing on a larger scale for whatever it is that you want to do. Okay, thank you for your time. I'm sorry that you're having to learn this way instead of that I'm right there with you, but if I can be helpful, please let me know. Thanks. Bye-bye.